Welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters and Craig Morgan, and we are really excited today to be welcomed by a special guest, head coach of the Atlanta Gladiators, the new ECHL affiliate of the Arizona Coyotes, Jeff Pyle. Jeff, welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Jeff, we obviously heard the news recently that the Coyotes are going to have a new ECHL affiliate with Atlanta. But before we get to all of that, I was diving into your past a little bit. I know this fascinates all of us on this show anyway. So tell us a little bit about your hockey playing path. You enjoyed some really good seasons at Northern Michigan, I believe under Coach Rick Comley, right, whose son is a scout for the Coyotes.
Yeah, I did play for Rick, and he was the best coach I ever had. He was a good person. He kind of had his little tricks to motivate you, but he was upfront, honest, yeah. And back in the day, he has a stare. And back in the day, you knew when he was mad at you, but it was okay. Like, I like those coaches. I like if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know. So, yeah, and I loved it. 3 years there, it was amazing. I was not a great hockey player when I was young, so all this that I've kind of gotten to was really not in my resume when I was young. So every day for me, I've always told people this, every day is like my NHL. So and Northern was about as professional as it got. I had a blast there.
I wanted to ask how that even happened. I looked at where you're from, at least. I don't know how much time you spent in your hometown. I don't know about those early years, but coming from rural Missouri, how does that happen? It's not a traditional path, that's for sure.
No, my dad actually was in the service, and so we moved all around, and then all of a sudden we dropped in Minnesota, and my dad left, and my mom stayed there and took care of us. She was the best dad I ever had. She brought up the kids, and we had an outdoor hockey rink, and this is what a lot of the kids don't understand now, is we had an outdoor hockey rink across the street one way and across the street the other way. So in the winter, you're either skiing or snowmobiling or, sledding or you're skating. There's not much more you can do. And that's all I did. I was out on the ice every day. I could see the rink from my house. So as soon as it was swept off in the morning, I was there. And that's where we ended up, was Minnesota. And then I was okay in high school. We always had one of the top teams in the state. But I was just average, so I was kind of the guy that would fill in wherever I could. And if I was on the first line sometimes, okay. If normally I was a second, maybe third line guy. And then I played 1 year at junior in the USHL. The first year I never played. So I finally quit and I just said, I'll go play junior B and have some fun, Yeah. And all of a sudden I was playing all the time and I was scoring and I got my confidence. And then, the next year I was in the USHL again, and I figured, okay, I'll play one more year, and then I'll be a construction worker because that's what I was. And I love that job too. I absolutely loved being a construction worker. I had a blast doing that. And so I played the last year at junior, and we did well. And then Rick Comley came to one of our practices, and afterwards he took us to breakfast, and he just said, I'd like to have you come to Northern. And he said, you'll make the team. It's just a matter of how good you want to, how much you want to play. And that was all I needed, was that right there. And I got recruited from some other teams, but I had a buddy that knew a little bit about Northern, and I asked him, and he told me, yeah, go there. It's a nice place, and best decision I ever made. Second best, other than my wife. So
yeah, I got to throw that one in there just in case,
because
we know she's listening, Jeff. So my question, Jeff, and you brought up my keyword here from Minnesota, because I'm a Minnesota kid from way up north in Bemidji. So where did you go to high school? In the Minneapolis?
Lincoln High School, before Kennedy and before Jefferson.
Bloomington, Lincoln. Wow, that's old.
Bemidji was the first and only hockey school I ever did.
Oh, my dad owned the hockey school up there, Jeff. I got the Bemidji Hockey School T-shirts stacked in my closet just now. So
yeah, I went there when I was young, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's back when hockey schools, when there weren't many going on there in Brainerd. So, Jeff, I got a question about your coaching path. So I look at your schedule, you're a hockey DB, and you talked about the best coach you ever had. What about the coach in 86, 87 with the Saginaw Generals? The assistant coach of the Saginaw Generals was listed as Jeff Pyle. So are you a player coach, and are you Reg Dunlop in 86, 87 player coach? You just say, yeah, you're up, Pyle, you're up, power play,
No,
Pyle, you're next.
Dennis DeRozier coached, and so I was a player assistant that way, and I did a lot of the business stuff and stuff like that. So that's kind of when I got started. But I will tell you, when I was in Germany, one time they fired the coach, and I was a player coach, so I was a Reg Dunlop for a while, and it was kind of fun, but it was kind of one of those things where, yeah, I don't mind doing this for a little while, but I don't want to do it a lot.
Yeah, I'd be calling my number all the time. My son would be going through yep, you're up, Pyle, you're up. So then when did the bug for coaching come in? Like, how does that start? The transition from player, like when do you go, okay, I just can't do this anymore? Either is it your body, your mind, or saying, hey, I got to try something else?
Yeah, I had a back injury, and I still to this day suffer from it, and it's kind of like my battle scar. You know, I don't even care. Some days I struggle walking, but that's all right. But it happened when I was in Germany, and I couldn't play after that anymore. So I was getting ready to go home, and they're like, would you like to stay and coach? And I said, you have a coach here. And they go, well, if you stay, we'll fire him. I said, no, you're not going to do that to me. Wow. I said, you guys got to decide what you're going to do, and then I'll decide from there what I'm going to do, you know. And they go, well, if you stay, we'll fire him. And I said, I got tickets going home tomorrow that you guys paid for, so that's my plan right now. So they decided to fire him, and then I stayed. And then and I didn't really want to be a coach. Like, I was going to go home and just start working, because I told my wife, you know, I played college, I played pro for 13 years. I was over in Europe. You know, we kind of did what we wanted to do. We had our son over in Germany, so I didn't want him to go to school. He was like 4 years old. So then I came home after that. I did 4 years over in Germany. And then I came home after that, and I was getting ready to get out of hockey. But I talked to Don Waddell, because I played with him at Northern, and I congratulated him because they had won the Stanley Cup with Detroit before that as assistant. And I was just so fired up for him, especially in Detroit, where he was from, you know, proud of him for that. And then he goes, what are you going to do? And I go, I don't know. I've thrown my resume out, but I'm not sure, you know. And so then 4 days later, I had somebody reach out to me after Donnie had talked to somebody, and, you know, so Bob McNamara called me, wanted me to be an assistant in Grand Rapids for Curtis Hunt and him. And I went there, and I just loved it. I was like the eye in the sky, and I did the video, and, you know, just jumped around on practice. And Curtis Hunt had a ton of energy, and I fed off of that and learned from him. And then the next year I ended up going to Mobile, Alabama, and took the job there. And that's where my coaching really started, right there. I went to a bad situation and had to rebuild it, and finished the season 16-6-2 and made the playoffs. And I took 1 day off and then started recruiting again. So wow. That's my career right there.
So I want to go back to your playing career a little bit. And you mentioned Germany, but you experienced just about every, you know, minor league hockey there is to experience: the Atlantic Coast Hockey League, the International Hockey League, and the American Hockey League, and then, of course, Germany. So from your time as a player, what did you learn about the American League system and how it evolved, and that, you know, how that plays into, you know, you as a coach now?
When I was in the American League in Binghamton, it was a tight checking league. And you were told as a rookie, you're going to wait. I was told by Larry Kish, Galarno sat, Neufeld sat, and you're going to sit. So I was like, all right, fine, you know. And then he picked on me because I was an American too. So I was like, okay, fine, that's fine, you know. But in the end, the American League, to me, it was good. And there was a lot of, you know, great players in that league. But when I got to play in the IHL, there was good NHL players in that league. Like the team I played with, where we had Mark Bergevin, we had Eddie Belfour, Panger, Butch Cassidy. Like, we had a ton of guys, great guys. Kenny Painter, Dave Manson, you know, Rick Patterson, Bill Gardner. So that league was really good. That was when that league turned from the old IHL to the new IHL. It was starting to turn, and there were great players coming into the league, and all the teams were getting better. Better coaches were coming in. It was really fun, and that's kind of where I learned too. And I'm the guy that I want to learn till I die type guy. You know, I want to, if I have a question, it's coming. You know, like I never think that I know too much, and there's always someone better and knows more. So I'm just kind of a sponge in every situation. So that's how I started. And Donnie was working with Rick Dudley, so I would follow a little bit of their stuff. And then with the Atlanta affiliation, I got in the middle of every coach that ever came through here. So how can you not learn? I'd be a moron to not learn.
What do you think minor leagues in the U.S. can do a better job of?
Just protecting players. They do a good job of it anyway, but just headshots, especially at our level, the headshots, there's just too much danger now, and guys are too big and strong. But it's not bad. Everybody's trying, but I think that's the biggest thing. The dirty stuff has got to get out of the game. Fighting's okay. I still think that's part of the game. It keeps everybody honest, as long as you don't have anybody cheating on anybody or sucker punches and stuff like that. But that would be the only thing. I mean, sometimes they're trying to open it up and change it a little too much, and I like it being a little bit dirtier. It's okay that it's a little bit, there's some slashing and some cross-checking going on. Like, it's a game. It's a tough, hard game, and I mean, my body's killing me because of it, but I'll take that to my grave.
Jeff, we always hear Phoenix referred to as a non-traditional hockey market, and you touched on this earlier, you have coached in some very non-traditional markets like Mobile, Alabama, as you mentioned, the Atlanta area, Cedar Park, Texas, Evansville, Indiana. Can you take us through some of those experiences and memories of being at that level in cities like that?
Mobile was extremely cool. Like, and that was my first coaching job, because I had actually, when I came home after Grand Rapids, I told my wife, I said, we can settle down, or, I can go in hockey. And I had 3 interviews. And the first one, they said, Jeff, your resume looks great. You're a great guy. But you've been in Germany for 10 years. So we're a little worried. And I said, yeah, I get it. And then the first one was in Fayetteville in the Central League. And then the second one was in Muskegon. I think it was the Colonial League. And same thing, exact same thing. And they said, yeah, great interview, and you're a great coach, player, but you've been in Germany. And so I'm like, okay, no problem, and I wasn't super disappointed because I understood. And so then I got a call from Mobile, and they said, can you come in? I said, yeah. And then at that time I had interviewed for Coca-Cola, and I am the best sponsor for Coca-Cola in the history of Coca-Cola. I live off this stuff. But the bottom line is I went to Coca-Cola, and it was a good job. And it would have been in Minnesota, and we could settle down. And so they offered me the job, and I said, listen, I've already accepted to go out of town. I'm going to go out of town to this interview, and they're going to tell me your resume looks great, you're a good guy, but, we're going to go in a different direction. So that's what I had planned. Then I went out of town to Mobile, and went golfing with Steve Chapman the first day, and we had a great time. And we went with this guy who was like the major rep from Burger King. His name was Frank. We had a great day. He was the guy that always walks in your line and putts before you when he's not supposed to type guy, but he was a great guy and a really nice guy and everything. So we had fun that day. That dinner, we went out to dinner with Toby Jeffries and Tiny Simmons and Chappie. And the 4 of us were sitting there, and Toby goes, yeah, I heard you had some interviews. And I said, yeah, I did. And I said, the bottom line is, I said, first one, just like I told you guys, exact same story. And Toby looked at me, he goes, 3rd time's a charm, and he winked at me. And I got like this rush of anxiety. And I was like, oh my God, I might get this job. Now what do I do? And I started to panic, and I had a club sandwich, and I couldn't even eat it. I couldn't even pick it up. So I sat there the rest of the night, then took it to go. And so I got back to the hotel, and I told Kathy, I said, what do you want to do? I said, we might get this job. And she goes, no way. And I said, yeah, we might get this job. And so she goes, now what? And I said, I don't know. So I told Chappie the next morning, we had a meeting. I went home, and I just told Kathy, I said, you pick what you want to do. I said, you've been following me around for a while. I said, I'll get out of this. Got this job with Coca-Cola. I'll be a merchandise guy. I can see myself doing that, saving us a lot of money on Coke right there. So I was all in for that. I was like, I'll do that. And she said, and her exact words were, she goes, you do hockey. And so she goes, let's do it. So I was like, all right, so we went, and now here we are. So really it was her decision to do this. And I was okay with not doing it, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to coach. I mean, I loved the game and traveled and the whole 9 yards, but I was willing to settle down too. But she's from California, and I met her at Marquette, Michigan, and dated her from then. And I knew she wasn't going to go to Minnesota and stay there. Never in a million years. So I was glad she made that choice.
Did you? I mean, was it an experience coaching in markets like that though, where again, hockey's not exactly ingrained in Mobile or Evansville? What did you find out about those markets?
Mobile was just crazy because it just wasn't. It was one of those markets where you go in there and it was in a rodeo type arena, But the fans were great. Like during Mardi Gras, everybody would be there. It'd be crazy, And that's where Mardi Gras originated. And so it was just this deep South, but it just it was hockey with a bit of a twang, That's really all it was, and it was a lot of fun. Great people, and I had unbelievable friends still there that we worked with. And then we go into Atlanta, where we go, from probably the worst arena in the league to the best arena in the league in Atlanta, and that was just everybody. It was like so much building going on, and we're in the best building in the league, and everything around us is developing. So that was amazing. And then I get the chance in the American League too. I've tripped on more jobs. I'm telling you, like I didn't even throw my resume out for some of these. So I'm in Mobile or in Atlanta, and they're asking me about Ryan Garbutt, who I had. Glenn Gulletson and Scott White called me about him and said, "Hey, what do you think about this guy being in the NHL?" And I said, "He's got all the tools. He skates. He's tough. He can score. He hits hard." I said, "He just got to make some better decisions." But yeah, I think he could. And then I talked to both Gully and Joe Newendike too, and they asked, and I said the same thing. And so I said to Scott White, I said, "Scott, I haven't sent my resume out in years." I said, "Can you? I'm going to send it to you, update it, and send it to you." And I said, "And I just want you to crush it, like rip me, because in case I decide, I've been in Atlanta for 10 years, maybe it's time to move type thing." He goes, "Yeah, send it to me." And I said, "I know you guys have another coach." And I really wasn't looking for a job. I just wanted to see if my resume looked okay, because being an older guy and, not as great with the computer like some of the kids were. So I sent it to him, and he calls me a day later and he goes, "Would you like to fly into Dallas?" So I'm like, got caught like totally blindsided. So I'm like, "Yeah." So I fly in there and I meet with those guys, and it was a good meeting and everything. And I met with the equipment guys. I knew a couple of them. They just said, you're the only one they're introducing everybody to. So I was like, oh no, now I got to make another decision. And we were ready to leave Atlanta, but it's like, do we move the family again? Which is tough on the family all the time. But I always look at it as, the experiences. And, we're in Cedar Park, and then you're right next to Austin, and it's keep Austin. What's the word there? Keep Austin weird or something like that, and, you're in Texas now, as opposed to, Alabama, and just a bigger market, the, NHL, American League, I go to Dallas's camp, and then you're in the American League the whole year, and you're just, great prospects. But, that market was just hot too, and still is. And it's a great organization, the Dallas, Texas organization. Every one of those people were great. So then I got to go there, and then, like I said, it's, I find myself in Europe and places. And to me, the experience that we've had, the life lesson that Kathy and I have had of being able to, travel the world and do what we do. And, I would never in a million years ever change it. Sorry about that, you guys. I just love, like I said, I've been so blessed to be able to do what I do.
Jeff, can you provide some insight as to how this agreement came about with the Coyotes? I think you have a relationship with Coyotes assistant general manager John Ferguson Jr., but maybe you can provide some insight as to how this all came about.
Yeah, well, we were working with Boston before, and then last year we worked with Ottawa, and we had some other stuff going on too that we were trying to put. I had a friend that was trying to put a team, maybe in New Mexico if possible, type thing. And there was some stuff going on there, which in this league happens all the time. Everybody's trying to buy everything and change everything type thing. So I had found out that John had moved over there, and Bill too. I knew Bill from before being in the ECHL. And so I just kind of reached out to both of them and said, "Listen, I'm just going to plant a seed here. If somewhere down the line, you guys need an affiliate, because I told them if they're staying with Rapid, that's fine. If they're not, and they're looking, we'd like to throw our name in the hat." So that's really how that got going. And John's relationship with me, I think I worked with him for a couple of years, and he knows me, and that I think the familiarity is good. I think it's easier for him too, because he knows what I do and how I'm gonna run my program here. So I think that's really how it got going. I think it's kind of from a trust, and flying in out of Atlanta, is a great place to, get flights and easy to get in and out. So I use that hub pretty well too.
So we saw this a lot last year with the Coyotes. They went through a lot of injuries. So they had guys, they go up the ladder. They're going from Tucson up to Phoenix, and they had to go from Rapids up to Tucson. So you're in your position in the ECHL, you're providing most of your players up to Tucson. So is that communication go through you? Do you get a sense and develop a relationship with Steve Potvin, the head coach, or do you deal mostly with, as you said, with John Ferguson Jr. and with management to get that relationship together?
Well, I think it's a little of both because John, will call me sometimes and say, we might need this guy back, or their guys are up and they need another guy from us. So John may call, and then Steve may call too and go. A lot of time it'll be Steve probably too, because he'll want to know he needs this guy or who's playing better. Is it this guy or this guy? So he and I think that's a good way to do it. They're going to want to, pit these kids against each other. So who's ever playing the best in that position at that time. And sometimes they'll take our guys just to motivate their own guys and send a message. So it's really a little bit of both. But I think at the time when there's a question on players, it would be Steve calling me, or, John, one of those, John Slaney too, just to get a read on the guy, or a goalie, whatever it may be.
How hard is that as a coach? When you see it, you're happy for the kid. You like to see a kid develop and move up and get different playing experiences. But as a coach, when those kids leave and get the call up to the American League or eventually up to the big club, they're your best players. I mean, and those are the guys that you're good players, and the good offensive and defensive and great goaltenders are the ones that are moving up and down. How does that affect you as a coach? I mean, you got to mix your emotions for the kid, good for him, but good grief, now my lineup's tough for this weekend's games. How does that affect you as a coach?
Well, you kind of put on the face. Like, man, I'm happy for him. And then when the door closes, you're like, God, I wish that. And you don't mean to say it that way, but the pressure of, everybody has to win, and you can't really use the call-ups and stuff as an excuse. Yeah, it happens, but you got to find a way to win. And I always tell my guys, we're not really losing the guy. We're happy for him, but it's an opportunity for the next guy down here that's been complaining that he's not on the power play, he's not on the penalty kills. So I always push everybody that way. It's not about who you don't have, it's about who you do have. So I push that out of the way. I mean, I like when we're shorthanded. I like when we're the underdog. It builds character. It prepares you for what's going to happen in the playoffs. It prepares you for life. So every time there's a little adversity, I like, no matter what it is. Like last year, we were in the playoffs. We didn't get a playoff game at home in the first 4 games because of the arena. But I didn't want to use it as an excuse, like poor us. I was like, okay, cool. We'll be the first team that does really well and, wins this series somehow. We didn't, but that's the way we approach it. And I think that's the way I approach everything. I'm not going to, there's no reason to cry about spilled milk, just move forward and, keep it going.
So we've seen the ECHL used by NHL teams for goaltender development, for rehab stints, for AHL call-ups, like we've already talked about. So in your mind as an ECHL coach, what is the value of an ECHL affiliation for a franchise?
I think it's enormous. Like I tell all these kids that are on contracts down here, I said, this is the only place you're going to get this opportunity. You're going to get your 20, 25 minutes here, and the goalies are playing every other game and stuff like that. When they're in the American League, they don't get that, and they're not getting that power play time. And then I make sure that they're like the details. They got to be good. If they're going to stay in the American League and make it to the NHL, they got to be smart. Their reads have got to be good. I'm not going to say you can't make a mistake, but you can't make a lot of stupid mistakes, So I just try to clean them up here and then, get them going on their way. But, this is what we're here for. We're a feeder for the American League and then on to the NHL. So, that's what we want. And the more of those kids that go up there, it says a lot for this league. And we do give them ice time. I think they learn a lot here from the older guys too, where when you're first coming into the American League, you're a little scared because you're intimidated by guys that have been in the NHL, whereas in the ECHL, there are a lot of guys that you've kind of been around, guys that play junior together, things like that. So this is a great, mentally and physically, a great league for these guys to play in, and it's a great developmental league to get to the American League and help the NHL teams, see their guys a little bit more.
So Philadelphia Flyers special assistant to the GM, Danny Briere, also a former Arizona Coyote, he said he thinks that NHL clubs could do more with their ECHL affiliates. Do you agree with that, or are you happy with the way things are?
No, I think they should get more involved. If we're going to be part of what they do, any way they can help us with just, whether it's, I mean, a lot of teams do it anyway. They'll send down coaches to, like goalie coaches, scouts come through, which is great. Not so much that they're going to change anything we do, but they're going to do some of their own stuff, especially the goalie coaches are good, or skills coaches will come down. That's amazing for us. But just keeping video coming to us, and a lot of these guys do it too. But, I would like to see the NHL buy an ECHL affiliate and just kind of make it a three-way type thing. I mean, if we're going to, if we're, and it all, I think would go with location, but if you're going to really work it right, it should be an even playing field for everybody. And then that way you develop your whole system. And it could be through ticket sales, through everything you do, equipment managers, so you're developing everybody in your own organization, which I think can only help.
Following up on Leah's question, Jeff, Danny also said he thinks Eastern Conference teams maybe use their ECHL affiliates more, and some of that may have to do with geography. There's only 3 teams in the Mountain Time Zone, none in the Pacific. Do you think that plays a role, first of all? And I don't know if you've ever heard any discussion about the ECHL maybe moving out west to enhance those relationships as well.
Well, like when we first started, I'll go back, there was like 8 teams when I first started, I think, or 10 in this league, and they were all out in this area. And then we started to go west a little bit more and everything, which, it was actually pretty good and stuff. And I think in the end, it's from a recruiting standpoint, when we came from Atlanta and Mobile, the recruiting wasn't great. But when we went to Atlanta, and I went to the draft, and I just told them, I said, I want to move guys up. I'm going to play young. I want to get young college guys. I want to move them up. And that was kind of my, my reputation. So I got to know all the agents, and that's how, because of having such a great market at the time, we could compete with anybody. We were younger than everybody else, but we were good every year. And Atlanta helped us a ton being right here. And that's location 2, which was amazing for us. But I think that's, in the end, I think that's the biggest point to me was, having the opportunity to develop the kids and having the opportunity to be in those markets. I think it's just the best for the game.
Atlanta obviously has a little less than ideal NHL history with a couple incarnations not succeeding there. But how has the market treated the Gladiators? What has been your relationship with the city and the fans there?
It's been great. I mean, from day one, obviously, everybody says it's kind of a funky market at times because, there's so many people that are not from Atlanta here. The Thrashers probably didn't draw as good as they could have, at times, but, that is what it is. When we first started here, they were 45 minutes down the way, and we'd have fans that would go see their game during the day and come see our game at night, so there was crazy hockey fans. Just the only thing is I don't think they ever developed their own. Everybody, when you go to a game, you'd see New York jerseys, Detroit jerseys, everybody, all sorts of other jerseys, but I don't think they ever developed their own solid fan base other than they were hockey fans, and then they never made a lot of playoff runs with Church too. But that's the same thing with us, is when we were rocking and rolling early, we were averaging, 5,500. Then when the NHL went on strike, we were right around 6,000, and, we were getting sellouts. And there was one night, I know Derek Nesbitt always talks about that, the one night where the Thrashers were playing downtown and they drew, I think, 9,500, and we drew a little over 10 here and outdrew them that night. So, that to us, that was a big thing. You're competing, and I think it's a good market. Maybe we haven't tapped it the way we could have. I don't know. I'm not the business type, so I can't say that, but our fans have been amazing. They've stuck with us. We've had fans, that I consider great friends, that have just been our fans forever, and they follow us around. When I was in Texas, they'd show up there, and in Mobile, they'd show up there, even the fans from Mobile. That's when I realized what a cult it was from a standpoint of the Mobile Mystics. Our fans, the one guy, we went to Pensacola, and fans from Mobile came over, and they said, and they hadn't had a team for a while or nothing. And they came over and they had the old jerseys on. So I took a picture with them, and, we were talking and stuff. And they said, we cried when you guys lost in the finals that year. And it didn't even hit me that they would even think about it, but that's how the way it is. It's just, this league is an amazing league. and people are, they're diehards. It's just, I think it's a great league, and it keeps expanding more and more. Now we're in Canada too, so going out west would be good. Just I think push it as far as you can. I don't know the limits of where it's headed.
Last question before we let you go, about the Atlanta Gladiators season coming up. What is your outlook on this upcoming season, which is right around the corner?
We had a blast last year, and it's pretty much the same group. This is the easiest recruiting group I've ever had. We had a team last year, and my theory was after the pandemic was, let's create a moment. Everything you do is going to be create a moment, in your life. Like we had some guys, I was making examples, Sly's, having a baby this year, Carlos, having a baby this year, people dying in your life, where it was around cancer time too. So I said, let's just go out, let's focus on hockey, everybody get the vaccine so we can stay healthy, and let's just have the most fun we could. And we had one of the best years we've had in a long time, and everybody just bought in and we had fun. So we're just going to do the same thing. And this, I'm getting towards the end of my career here. So every year to me is going to be, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to press these guys every day to bring their best. And that's really all I can do.
Well, Jeff, we can't thank you enough for being so generous with your time. Best of luck with the upcoming season, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you guys. This has been a blast. So this is great, and I wish you guys all the best. And
thanks,
if you
Jeff.
need me again, I'll be here. Hopefully.
Great getting to know you.
Thanks, Jeff. Good luck.
Too. Thanks, you guys.
Yes, thank you. Bye. Well, thank you again to Atlanta Gladiators head coach Jeff Pyle for his time. I just need to say right off the bat, every time he talked about getting a job offer and feeling like anxiety, I was just thinking of Petey, like, oh, the rush of anxiety with having to make a decision. Who does that sound like?
I know. Gotta make another decision. Oh,
I was just worried that we were going to go down another Minnesota rabbit hole.
Always.
Bemidji hockey camp. How about that?
That's crazy, right?
Gosh.
Yeah, that is.
What are the odds? I know, that's crazy, but it's so cool. He had such a non-traditional path to get to where he is, and he's, like Craig touched on, he's coached in non-traditional markets, and that story he told at the end, just like people are diehard hockey fans all over the country, and it's not just at the NHL level. Like people just love hockey, and it doesn't matter where. They'll always be hockey fans.
From selling Coke in Minneapolis to 20 years in Atlanta coaching hockey, big difference in life just by taking that job. It's funny because I'm going through all of the Arizona Coyotes that have had a taste of the East Coast Hockey League. And to Craig's point earlier, if you look at the goaltenders, Alex Ahl, Burke, Domingue, Dubnik, Grice, Hill, Kemper, Langhammer, Mike McKenna, it is an incredibly long list. And forwards, it's much, much smaller. And that's how you talk about building that ladder. And Boko Amama is the most recent guy who had touches in the East Coast League. And a guy that we might talk to this week, Dyson Mayo, also had his touches in the East Coast League. So, yes, guys can make it. Guys playing the East Coast League can play in the National Hockey League. So it's definitely something to keep your eye on that path. It's possible. So, it's one of those things where you got to start somewhere, and you work your way up from the East Coast League up to the National League. It's kind of cool.
I always love hearing the minor league stories, too, because like you said, Leah, that it may be a smaller fan base, but they're really passionate. The people that turn out are there all the time. And there's a greater connection, I think, with teams at that level because there's not the layers of protection for the players because it's a pro level. You don't have to do that as much. They want people to be out in the community connecting as much as possible. So there's a really great relationship in those cities. And you see it sometimes when you go down to Tucson, you absolutely get that feel. So minor leagues in many ways are a lot of fun to be around.
Yep. And the Gladiators themselves, it's their 26th season in the ECHL. They've had success in Atlanta, and it's actually the second time the Gladiators franchise has been an affiliate of the Coyotes. They had a partnership from 2011 to 2015. It's always really interested me how the partnerships for the ECHL change, but it was really interesting hearing what Jeff said too, that he would like to see the NHL buy franchises and have it be more established, more like the AHL NHL team relationship.
I always wonder about that because to me, I guess it comes down to the volume of players that you're talking about. Like baseball, you can obviously see this happen because they have endless rounds of drafts and there's prospects at all different levels. But when you factor in not only the American Hockey League, but then players playing juniors or college or over in Europe, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. Petey, I'd love your thoughts on this, but is there enough of a development opportunity to make that sort of commitment with the ECHL? Are there enough players really to make that sort of commitment?
It's hard, and it always depends. Like, there was more movement last year between the East Coast League team and the American League team than I ever remember with the Phoenix Coyotes because of all of the Arizona Coyotes. Sorry, not Phoenix Coyotes. But you can't anticipate that without that.
Wow.
Without that, yeah, Craig, it's hard. I mean, it's you can find guys to play in the American League. We've had Jay Veride on before, and Jay always said we'd find a guy. Like, you'd find a guy. So those affiliations, I'm not sure it's ever going to happen. I really don't know that financial commitment to make that, to have an East Coast League team be your, whether you see an ownership group come in and buy an East Coast League, I don't see it happening right now.
Well, we got a new partner, everyone, and I'm really excited about this.
You do, Harry?
No, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. I know people are already asking me about the Harry Styles thing in the comments, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm really excited about our new partner. I actually just downloaded the app this morning right before the show, but it's Underdog Fantasy. It's the easiest and most fun way to spice up your football season, and it's the Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Just look for your favorite or least favorite player stats. Pick whether you think they'll end up with a higher or lower total than that number in this week's game, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. It's just adding some more fun ways to watch not just football, but you can do this with all sports as well when hockey season starts. You can do it then too. So you pick between 2 and 5 players for your pick'em entry, get all your picks right, and you'll take home some cold hard cash with the opportunity to win up to 20 times your money in a single game. You can search in the App Store, click the link in the show notes, and sign up with the promo code PHNX, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PHNX, and get in on the action today. So make sure you use that promo code, because I did, and I got that special offer. So
you'll have to teach me, Leah.
Deposit my money right after the show and learn more about Underdog. But we're really excited about that partnership. And of course, we're always excited about our partnership with Four Peaks. I was really excited to get back to Arizona. They don't have Four Peaks on tap in New York City, unfortunately, but you can get it anywhere you buy your beer here in the Phoenix area or in Arizona. So check it out. Did you guys have a good time at Four Peaks last week?
We did. We started with the pumpkin porter before 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we
planned that ahead of time.
I told Shane when we had Shane Doan on the show that after that show, I went home and I had to take a nap.
After your 2 beers,
old guy with a couple beers in him. It's solid character.
Wow, it's a tough gig that we got here. Yeah, man,
it was really good. You know what, Leah? The hard part about Four Peaks on the last Wednesdays is they throw, and we talked about this when you weren't there. They have the old guys go first because the younger people aren't out of bed yet. So Craig and I have to do the 11 o'clock show, and they're literally just opening the doors. So we had to wait right until the last second of the show to get our pumpkin porters and our kilt lifters. But
was it worth it though?
It absolutely worked out.
They're so good out of the tap. They are.
I need to try the pumpkin porter. I still haven't.
I tell you what, I'm not a big overly done pumpkin flavored anything, and I got to give it to Craig. I don't tell him that I said that, but it's subtle. It's a subtle little. It's like pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving morning. It is. It's just a little subtle. It's got a little bit of, I don't know if it's cinnamon or nutmeg, but it's got a little something. No heavy aftertaste. It was perfect. I'm ready.
Well,
sign me up.
Now that it's after Labor Day, I'm ready for pumpkin season. But be sure, if you haven't already, to enter the Toast of the Month sweepstakes, and you can win a $50 Four Peaks gift card, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. Go to gophnx.com or click on the link in the show notes. You must be 21 or older and enjoy responsibly. Okay, I'm throwing a curveball because I'm bringing up something that wasn't in the rundown. I think it's ready. I didn't actually check, but I think it's the NHLPA event. I should have known this better, but we saw a picture on Twitter circulating this morning of Dylan Guenther wearing the Kachina. Here it is from Greg Wisniewski. Dylan Guenther, the Arizona Coyotes, with their jersey ad. We're starting to see ads on NHL jerseys, all fine and good, but everyone on Twitter was pointing out to the fact that the ad on this jersey is Gila River Hotels and Casinos, and leave it to the internet to always find a way to make fun of a situation involving the Coyotes, because it's like, oh, they had to leave their arena, but it's still the advertising. Do you have any insight on this ad situation?
I do not. Anyone? I know that they still had an agreement with them, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know where they're going down the road with that affiliation. They haven't really talked about that yet, but as PD would say, HK.
I tell you
why
what,
are we obsessing on this?
the
Exactly,
internet's
right?
making a big deal about these jersey ads, and not just the Coyotes, but every team. Like it's, oh, this team's that, this team's that. Again, HK, like isn't a part of pro sports now.
Look at
I mean,
every elite, like in Europe, they've been doing this forever. It's just
Yeah,
what it is.
it is.
in my
I think it'll be, everybody will talk about it for the first game and the first preseason game, and then it'll just be. Do you even remember the helmet ads from last year?
No.
I don't even remember it being a thing. Like again, it was just like this, where it was a big deal and everybody made a big deal. Oh, it's on the helmets. I don't honestly don't remember it by the playoffs.
It doesn't bother me, especially on that black jersey. It's so subtle.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it because NHL jerseys are iconic and you don't want to ruin the, integrity of a jersey, but I don't think that specifically does. So I think this is going to be one thing, every people don't like change.
Yeah, the one thing though,
That's it.
The last comment I'll make on those, and you see across the league on these patches, is how much the league has pivoted on sports gaming and how much it was so taboo to now it's literally on jerseys, and not just the Coyotes, the Capitals. Like there are sports gaming, apps and so forth on a lot of the sweaters in the league this year. It's just funny to me how quickly the league either abandoned or adopted the new philosophy when you start throwing some money around. So it's interesting to me how quickly they pivoted from being, this is awful, can't have anything to do with it, to, hey, let's put a team in Vegas and put it on every sweater we can possibly put it on. So I just find it interesting. Not bad.
Yeah.
I like we say, if you get a little juice on the game, makes the games more exciting to watch. But it surprises me how much of that is an element right now.
Absolutely. Well, before we dive into the conversation, I know everybody's here for.
That's why I tuned in today.
I've obviously, not obviously, but I think at this point everybody knows that in New York City I saw Harry Styles at Madison Square Garden, and those were tickets that I got very last minute. And I got them through the Gametime app because that's where you can go to get last minute tickets. It's the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. You can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy tickets last minute. It's great for you procrastinators out there, me, with that sort of thing. The tickets on like Ticketmaster and StubHub were ridiculously priced, but on Gametime it's much more affordable, and it's just a really great way to get tickets. So if you love PHNX, then you'll love Gametime. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. So please help support us. Check out Gametime. We got NBA starting, we got NHL starting, MLB. There's still a few weeks left of the season, so get your tickets on Gametime. All right, let's get into it. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube, this is my shirt right now. It's the Harry Styles Love on Tour Madison Square Garden event t-shirt. By the way, this t-shirt is 100% cotton. Guess how much I paid for it?
$75.
Close. It's $50 t-shirt.
I figured there was a New York markup.
I can't remember the last time I actually bought a concert t-shirt just for that very reason. That's insane.
I haven't in 6 years, but I felt like I had to. But now there's some controversy surrounding not only Harry Styles, but this whole movie thing. And sorry, if you were here for Hockey Talk, you can leave now because we're about to get into some interesting conversations here, including this video, which we have here. Okay, it was very fast. But if you haven't seen the video, just go on Twitter and search Harry Styles spit, and you'll see this video again. And it is potentially Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine at the Don't Worry Darling premiere at the Venice Film Festival. And I know Craig has a lot to say on this. So, Craig, I'll give it over to you.
I just need to know, Leah, if it in fact is confirmed that he spit in his lap. First of all, we all want to know why. Of course, there's been a lot of drama on that set anyway, not just with those two male stars.
So much drama.
Yeah, there's been a lot of drama. But I want to know, Leah, if it in fact is proven that Harry Styles spit in Chris Pine's lap, are you going to distance yourself from Harry Styles?
I think I definitely would distance myself, but I don't believe that he did or if he did, I don't believe it was on purpose.
Wait a minute.
Like,
Wait
what
a
is,
minute.
sometimes, you
I wanna
just like,
follow up on that. You can drool and it could fall down, but to
but the
actually
problem
get
is,
that saliva to project over to someone else's lap, you literally have to project it.
but what if they have, what if it's like an inside joke that they have? I don't know. What if they were like, let's cause more drama for the PR for this film?
Maybe, yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever hear the truth on this, but that was a weird scene, and it just it's funny that it comes right after you went to see
I
Harry Styles
know.
at MSG. So, by the way, how was the show?
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's a really good performer. I'm not sure about him as an actor yet. I've only seen him in Dunkirk, which he didn't really have a huge role in. But as a singer and a performer, he's very good. It was my first time ever in Madison Square Garden, which was a really cool first experience for me. When I walked in the metal detector, I looked on the ground and there's like plaques kind of on the ground, and I looked down and it was a Wayne Gretzky one. So it felt very appropriate that I saw the hockey one, and also just being there and as a hockey fan, like looking up and seeing all the New York Rangers banners and retired numbers, it was really cool. It's been a dream of mine forever to see anything at MSG. So next on the list is I have to catch an NHL game there. I would love to see that. So
Well, I'm glad you had fun, Leah, because we barely missed you, right, Craig?
barely.
Oh
Things
my
went
God.
so smoothly while you were gone, Leah.
My back is so sore from trying to carry this show for 3 days. It was, I can't, like, every day from the second you left, every show was like, I was just begging for you to get your butt home because this was so hard. It's hard to do what you do. It's hard to steer us too. It's really trying to keep Craig and I on track. It's really hard. So I am so grateful that you're back, Leah. Thank you so much for returning. I was worried you're going to stay with Harry and the marry me sign, and we were going to lose you forever because honestly, the show doesn't quite flow the same without you. So glad you're back.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It was nice to have a vacation. So thank you guys for holding it down while I was gone. And if you haven't, by the way, if you missed the shows last week, Craig and Petey actually talked to Shane Doan on Thursday. You can watch that on YouTube or listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. We talked to Travis Boyd. That was last Friday. So lots of great interviews. If you want to catch up on your commute this week, really tons of great interviews. And we possibly have more this week coming up, which is great. And on Friday is our 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of PHNX Coyotes, and all the rest of the PHNX shows. So we'll have a special episode Friday about our 1-year anniversary. I literally cannot believe that we're here on a year. So, man.
Is that regular time, Leah? Is that 11 o'clock on Friday?
Yep. 11 a.m. on Friday. So
we might have to, by the way, speaking of the Shane Doan interview, we might have to highlight one particular quote from Shane.
It will be on our social media later. Look out for that at PHNX_Coyotes.
He's like, wait, try to recall what Shane said about me.
Don't worry about it, Petey. You'll see it later.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things I can't believe are here already, the NFL, it's NFL week 1 this week, starting on Thursday and Sunday. I cannot wait. I cannot believe it. It's here. And the DraftKings Sportsbook app is hooking our fans up. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for week 1, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook, use promo code PHNX, and bet on an NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. That's promo code PHNX. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Check it out today. And we're going to bring in Sean for 1 second we're going to have a bonus DraftKings pick of the week. So Sean, what do you got for your early half of the week pick of the week?
I mean, I feel like I don't have much of a choice but to choose the Buffalo Bills -2. I mean, football's back. My team is opening off the NFL or kicking off the NFL season for the world as favorites.
Wow.
-2, -110. I feel like they're going to win. You can use that promo if they're up by 7 points at any point, which I think they will be. You get your money regardless. So might as well go Bills -2. They're about to win the Super Bowl this year. If they win this game, they might go undefeated.
They're about to win the Super Bowl.
Go undefeated. There it is.
Wow.
I'm just saying. So yeah, Bills -2 is my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week.
All
DP,
right.
stay on the screen for a minute because I'm throwing something else out that is not in the show notes either. Since we're all here and the Arizona Cardinals are getting ready to start their season, I want a win projection from each of you. It could be a range from 6 to 7, 9 to 10. What are your thoughts? Where are the Cardinals going to be in terms of win totals this year?
Oh, like for the whole season?
So, I have a feeling DP is probably a little bit more dialed into this. So
yeah, I've looked at their schedule before I went through this. I think I was thinking 11-6, but they could end up going 9-8, right?
9 was my gut reaction.
Yeah, but I was looking at their game. They have the schedule. They have games they should be able to win. Like the Seahawks are really bad, so that's 2 wins in conference presumably. I think they can win 11 games. I don't think they're going to really come close to the Super Bowl though.
Leah, did you say yours already? Sorry,
I said 9 was my gut.
Okay.
We see at 11 and 9, and I was going to say 9 too. So now I got to decide because I want to stay. I want.
Why do you go 10 and do the average?
But then
okay to say that,
10's aggressive though. 10's that's a good season. 10's a playoff season. So is it a playoff team? Are they going to get decimated with injuries again? Are they going to have quarterback controversies and problems? And do I go with 8? But if I say 8, then I get Johnny Venerable and Bo all over me. And last thing I want is Frank all over me. That'd be, oh boy. So I'm going to go with 10 instead of the 8 that I really would like to lean to. So I'll say 10.
Okay. Well, they can be all over me then because I'm going to go with the 8 to 9 range for the Cardinals for their win total of the season. I wish they had D-Hop, right? That's the big thing for me. If you were playing a full season, I'd have more wins on the board, but I think that's going to make a difference early on. So I'm going to go with that range. And hopefully they prove us all wrong, right?
I will say this from my weekend college football, and I started my first before ASU played on Thursday. I called Shane Diefenbach to get a little idea of how to bet that one, and I tell you the Dief huge. He said hammer the Sun Devils, which I did. Unfortunately, the weekend went downhill from there, so I'm going to have to use the NFL week to make up. So I started off 1-0, and I finished 1-5. So. We'll have to make it up in the NFL this weekend.
All right.
So let's go, DraftKings. Well,
thanks, Sean, for your pick. Much appreciated. And remember, everyone, for DraftKings, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if you want to get more advice from Shane, stay here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel for 12 o'clock for the PHNX Daily Bets show. And you can catch PHNX Cardinals because they know more than we claim to know. So if you've made it this far in the episode listening to us talk about Harry Styles and film premieres and football, thank you so much for tuning in. You can get football stories at gophnx.com from our talented writers, and we got Craig always on top of his stories. He has a lot of great stuff coming up on the website. Anything you want to plug for this week, Craig?
I've actually got a couple of stories on players. I'm going to talk to Connor Timmons tomorrow. I'm also going to talk to Liam Kirk, so we'll have a couple updates there.
Awesome. Well, become a member at gophnx.com. Today, you can get a shirt from the locker, a free shirt when you sign up for an annual membership. If you want to just give it a try for 50 cents, you can do the month-to-month membership. Either way, you can join our members-only Discord where we chat hockey daily. So join us there as well. I think that's it from us today. Any final notes?
Let's go. Was the hockey season getting closer?
Seriously,
close.
When we're talking about Harry Styles, it's time to start the hockey season. Let's go.
Right.
No offense to Harry, but let's go.
As PD would say, LFG.
LFG. Let's talk about players and hockey and rookie camp. And
I promise we're almost there. We're almost
players
there.
And rosters.
2
and
weeks.
We start arguing. Yep. 2 weeks. Can't wait. Can't wait for the Phil Kessel returned to ASU. I mean, those kind of things. That's the hard hitting stuff I want to
Phil Kessel walking through the concourse.
Oh my God. I forgot about the popcorn walk. What's he gonna? Can he get a hot dog on the way? Can you say that?
Oh
no!
Can't say that, Phil. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
On that
Phil doesn't even like hot dogs.
Okay, let's wrap this up. And by the way, Chris, no, I did not throw nuggets at Harry. He's been asking in the comments. Everybody, will be back again tomorrow live at 11 a.m. on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, and we'll have an audio show Thursday and live for our 1-year anniversary show Friday at 11 a.m. So subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Follow PHNX Sports across all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much again to Jeff Pyle for joining us on our show today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.